Welcome back. This video is a continuation of a Let's Not Meet story from a previous Let's Not Meet episode. And since the original upload, there have been multiple updates as well as a conclusion. So I thought it would be a good idea to retell the whole story in its own special episode. I will be rereading the original post for those who may have missed it, but also to retell the whole story in its entirety. As always, a special thanks goes out to our channel members who help support the channel, but you can also support the channel by simply subscribing and leaving a like. Now that that's out the way, let's get into the story. Someone is watching me. So, I have never posted on this sub, though I have other stories I've buried deep until recently, but this is happening in the present. I have had people stalk and follow me before, and because of that, and my true crime addiction, I have become supremely paranoid and a solid curtain twitcher. I reside in an upstairs room that was my first room to myself as a child. I had to leave a bad situation, and therefore, ended up back at my childhood home. For reference, when our house was built, we were told that the field to our left, with horses and a barn at the time, would one day soon be a development. It was 2000 when we were told that, and it wasn't until 2022 that roads started being formed and foundations laid. I had already had someone follow me home before when I was young, but I was in a different bedroom, next door. My parents put in a free library that's right below my window and nighttime security lights that are very bright and turn on if you're within 20 feet of the side of my house my room is on. I'll admit, having an open field next to me so long made me accustomed to not closing the curtains when I change, because there was never anyone to watch, but now there is. For the past 2 weeks, the burglar lights next to the free library have been going off late at night because my one side of the curtain is open so I can use my vape. That's the only reason I noticed at all. I didn't think too much at first. We lock all the doors and windows every night, and I'm on the second floor. I also always looked out to see if it was a car, someone walking their dog, or a deer, only to see nothing. To add, they put in a shit ton of streetlights around this area, so visibility is great, but it just kept happening. So last night, I did my usual. I saw the lights come on, out of my peripherals, and I acted natural, giving full view out the window that I was going to bed, turning the TV off, closing the window and curtains, and turning the lights out. Then I ducked down, peering through the curtains to the sidewalk below. I honestly thought I was going to pass out when after a few minutes, maybe 5, someone comes out from the side of my house, all silhouette, dressed in black. They kept their back to me until the light turned off, but I swear, I could still see them standing there, looking up like they could see me. I called the police, but while I was on the phone with the operator, I saw him run off. There wasn't much they could do, except say they'd have a car drive around and look. My parents are asleep, and I know I have to tell them tomorrow. This scares the crap out of me. If it hadn't been happening for weeks and was a solo incident, I would be fine about it. But the fact that the lights have been going off without me seeing activity, and what happened tonight, makes me think this person has been watching me, and watching my house. To the person outside of my window, let's please never fucking meet. Small update, I did tell my parents, and at first they brushed me off, claiming I'd had a couple of drinks and it was late, so I probably just saw someone checking out the library. Then, I had another conversation about it with just my dad, who said that there had been reports the last couple of weeks of car break-ins, and since my car is parked on my side of the street right outside my window, maybe they were trying to break into it. I pointed out that if he was trying to get into my car, why was he pressed up against the house, where he wasn't visible from my window? And why did he at no point go towards my car? I think I freaked him out enough that we are going to potentially get a camera for that area. Given all of the development happening around us, I think it's smart even without this incident. Thank you all for your advice and replies. I'll update here if anything happens. Time for a couple of exterior surveillance cams, my friend. Also, you mentioned that you just left an abusive relationship. Any chance this stalker is a jealous ex? Good luck to you. We already have one, but just at the front. I don't think it's a jealous ex, but I left home for a very good reason. There are a decent number of people here who at least at one point wanted to do me harm, but it's been 6 years, and not many people know I'm back in town. I'd label it to under 10, and since I was born and raised here, I know a lot of people. Honestly, this is why I didn't want to move back, but Rock Meet's a hard place. Update. So I posted the first part of this a few days ago, and now have an unfortunate update. There hasn't been any activity since the night after I originally posted. I was on a phone call the very next night with a friend when I noticed someone standing outside, completely surrounded in darkness. I proceeded to talk loudly about how some creep was watching me and they'd better watch out. Stupid, yes, but it seemed to work because all was quiet after that, or so I thought. Tonight was one of my oldest friends' last night in town, so I was out till about 9:30 p.m., drove 2 friends home, and then myself. Since it was so early, I wasn't that worried, but still alert. I drove up to the side of the street he hit on last time, even though it was out of my way, and saw nothing out of the ordinary. I noticed one of the new houses that was being built had its lights on, which I didn't think much of it in the moment. Fast forward an hour, and I start hearing a weird loud banging sound across the way. I know it's risky, but I'm not letting some asshole dictate my comfort. And I've also been watching for activity/pretending, so I can maybe catch them. So I've kept my window open as usual, hence why it was dumb to razz him the other night by talking about someone watching me, but I digress. It stopped, so I wrote it off. Big mistake. Shortly after, I started hearing banging again, but this time, I could actually feel it. It was coming from my house. I genuinely freaked out, like Knives Out status, but more cowardly, cowering in my bedroom on the floor with my ear pressed to the door, and knife in hand. It was a strange hollow sound that didn't seem like the front door, and it wasn't. I once again call 911, describing what's happening and thinking they're probably going to write it off because I sounded crazy. But I still feel in shock because this only just happened. Thankfully, the kind dude on the line definitely took me seriously and said someone would be on their way. For the record, the police department is like a 3-minute drive from my house. I ended up tiptoeing downstairs to see, and once again, felt my heart stop. I went to the front door, ducked down, and there wasn't anyone at the front door. Then the banging starts again, and I can tell how close it is. I go to the side window that overlooks the garage, and that's when I saw him, dressed in black, hood pulled far over his face, banging wildly on the garage door with a fucking crowbar. I honestly don't know why he wasn't using the crowbar to break in, but I'm super glad he didn't, as the door inside the garage that leads into the house is always left unlocked. To say I panicked is a vast understatement. I nearly pissed myself, which I think is understandable. I'm just standing there, peeking out the window watching this guy wail on my garage door with a crowbar, thinking how fucking unhinged he must be, and how much I want the cops to get there now, when just like before, he runs off. I quite literally just got done giving a report to the cops that showed up. My family was woken up, and had to talk to them as well, as they're the homeowners. And now they're both so freaked out that my dad just ordered 4 exterior cameras to monitor the house. I don't think it's over yet. This man has some reason he's targeting my house, possibly me, since he started out by watching outside my window. So, to this man, you better hope we never meet. I have a crowbar too. Motion-sensitive lights for all your front, back, and garage doors. Ring cameras with audio, as some don't have it. If you have patio doors, make sure you have a lock for it. There is a way they can use screwdrivers at the hinges to open it, if it's just a normal lock. A doorstop thing that stops the door altogether might be useful. Have an escape plan. Where are your rooms with locks? What windows can you jump down from? Do you have a spare phone you can call the police in an emergency if something is wrong with your main? Do people know about your routine? What time do you go to/come back from work, school, or other weekly errands? Are these things that someone could use to track when you are at home alone? I'm sorry if I'm scaring or making you anxious, but if this guy is following and trying to get into your home, you need to be careful. If there are any outside crawl spaces under the house, or outside doors that can lead into your home or basement, make sure they are properly secured. When checking, have a couple of people with you to be safe. Honestly, these are all amazingly helpful suggestions. We already have a ring at the front with audio, which did actually catch this person going to the garage, just not the incident at the garage, as it's pointing the wrong way. The cameras we ordered should get here in a couple of days, and we already have plans to face one towards the garage. Genuinely didn't think about the crawl space, as it's only accessible from the floor in my parents' closet. But holy nightmares, does that remind me of a true crime case I read about once. I have never done routines due to how vulnerable they make you to stalking, and I'm not working at the moment, so anytime I go anywhere it's very spontaneous. As for an exit, best option if I'm upstairs and someone gets in is to use my fire escape ladder out my bedroom window. My house is set up super weird, and unless they came in from the back of the house, my downstairs exits would be cut off. But at your suggestion, I've put the fire escape ladder right by my window just in case. Thank you so much for putting the time and effort into writing out these suggestions. It's incredibly kind of you. Update 2. So I'm not even sure if this is relevant to my previous posts about the person watching through my window and banging on my garage with a crowbar, but I'm worried that everything may be connected somehow. A week ago from this last Saturday, I was supposed to meet with a man who had contacted me through social media with friends in common. It wasn't an obvious date, more like a pre-date. We didn't get there though, as he randomly blocked me out of nowhere, and then unblocked me and apologized, thinking everything was normal and we were hanging out. When I didn't respond at all, seeing some major red flags in his behavior, he reached out to tell me I had thin skin for not just going along with it and meeting him in a debatably isolated place. I brushed it off, only to get a message from a different man, seemingly unconnected, blatantly asking for a date exactly a week later. I asked him up front, and kind of rudely, why he'd reached out and wanted to date me, but he was seemingly unfazed. We seemed to have a lot in common, and we're supposed to meet tonight. Here's where it gets weird. I asked him if we should meet at 6 in a particular spot. He saw it, but said nothing. I figured since he was at work he was busy, but then, nothing all day, and when I checked again, he saw it after we were supposed to meet, and still nothing. He pursued me, just as the last guy, but this time made me more nervous, because it feels like he wanted to make sure I was in a certain place at a certain time. For the record, it is a public place, but also very dark in the parking lot, and somewhat rural. I didn't think much of that at first, as it is a place I've gone all my life, but it feels like something is going on here. These two men were not reaching out through a dating app. I'm not on any yet, as I wasn't sure about being ready to date again, and wanted to let things happen/not happen organically. They found me through social media. Maybe it's not connected, but commenters on the other post pointed out how easy it is to find someone's address through social media, and these last two men reaching out in such a way, acting in such a way, and so close at a time makes me wonder. Maybe my window-watching garage door banger is separate. Hell, maybe even those two are separate people. I'm not sure what's scarier, but I'm thinking it's scarier if all of this is somehow connected as my gut tells me. I just don't believe in coincidences. And all of these things happening at the same time is suspicious to me. I'll just continue going to get my gun handling/safety courses, and I start Muay Thai next month, so there's that. Hope this wasn't a boring update. I really feel a bad feeling about these two guys, even if they aren't connected. I hope we don't meet. ETA, I forgot to add that as many helpful and worried commenters suggested, we have added 4 exterior cameras. But bad news. If you didn't see in one of my comments on the previous post, my mom lost her keys. They have an AirTag, and police have made several attempts to retrieve them unsuccessfully. We don't always know the location. We have all been keeping bedroom doors locked, and there are no extra keys in the main areas to those bedrooms. But it's still very scary, having the whole house rekeyed, and my mom has been using my dad's car, since she goes to the neighborhood they're in for work. So yay, on top of all of these weird, anxiety-inducing incidents, someone out there also has keys to my house. I wouldn't be talking to anyone you don't know online, and for sure not planning to meet up with anyone you don't know, whether Facebook or a dating app. It's sketch, especially right now. Keep your guard up and be safe. That's the new plan. I was really cautious with the second person, but as soon as I saw those red flags, I was out. I just have so much social anxiety and a hard time meeting people, and despite my child-free status, do really want to find a partner. It sucks, because right now, I just feel terrified and like no one is ever going to be safe. Someone is watching me. Update 3. I honestly wish I wasn't writing this right now. I've had weeks of peace, with only the ping of my overactive camera system alerting me to people passing by with their dogs or children. I thought everything was fine, and maybe this isn't the most dramatic update, but it was just another scary tick mark to add to the list. I got an alert to activity outside the garage. Given my garage door crowbar banger, that's the one I always pay the most attention to, honestly. I keep weird hours, and hadn't been on my phone, so at first I thought my dad was leaving for work. Then, I saw the recording it made instance later. This man walked boldly up to the car in the driveway, my mom's at the moment, and tried the handles of the doors before running off. I called the police with a good description and told them I have it on video. But my town doesn't have a large police force, and some of them are just like any department, shady and lazy. I've rewatched it so many times now, and he has the same build as the man I saw at the garage before. That's obviously not definitive, but now I have more details about his description that I couldn't see before due to the lack of lighting and cameras. I'm still pretty shaky, even though he didn't try to get in or anything. I was outside not half an hour ago, though in the fenced backyard. I hope this isn't a lame update. It feels like it to me, because still nothing is solved, and even though it might be unrelated, is that actually probable? That one person and or their house would attract so much trouble from completely different individuals? It doesn't seem likely. To the man outside of my house tonight, let's never meet. Edit to add. This man saw the camera before he ran. I don't know if he would have tried more had he not, but it has little red and blue lights on the front part that rotate in a full circle, so even I've noticed it. It's large and lights up a bit. That's why I thought they'd deter creeps so far. Just forgot to put that in, because I don't think I'm exactly in a great headspace. Was visited by the police, who kindly didn't ring the doorbell. My parents were asleep, and have been texted all about this. I gave all the evidence, and they found the guy. I don't know for absolute sure if it was the same man that banged on my garage, or watched from the window, but I do know that they caught this guy, and my video footage will be used, I guess. I don't know. I was really doubtful they'd actually send someone, due to the chastising text message. As I'd mentioned earlier in the post about this incident, my dad had told me there had been a lot of car thefts in the neighborhood. The weirdest part to me, that I think I might just be fucking imagining, is that he looks quite like the guy I had the one night stand with a couple of months ago, right around when all of this started. I really didn't think it could be him, but I'm hoping that since I'm supposed to get the ring footage to the officer tomorrow, I can ask who this person is. I'm hoping it's all over for now, and I'm so thankful for all those who provided me with great advice, which gave me a lot of comfort. Unless I'm wrong, and there is a second person, this will be my last update, and thankfully, closed chapter. And that was the last update that the OP posted, but thankfully for them, whoever was trying to get into the car was apprehended. But I can't help but wonder, was this person the same person who was outside of their window? Or the same person who was banging on their garage? I hope, for the OP's sake, that this was all the same person, and now that they have been arrested, the OP can finally have some peace of mind. But I am curious to hear what you think about the situation down in the comments, so let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.